You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 361 of Podketeers. This week we talk about what seems to be happening with the Disney Annual Pass program and the confusion caused by the latest earnings call. We talk about Disney Plus and bringing more parks experiences to the service, the goodies and the merch that we're looking forward to when Avengers Campus opens, and more. Remember that you can share your thoughts and connect with us over on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. But we'd love for you to join our small but growing community over on our Discord server. You can find an invite link to join us over at podketeers.com/361. As of the release of this episode, we are days away from the Chalk Walk. I'd like to take a moment just to thank everyone that participated in our auctions. Thank you for the donations. The Children's Hospital of Orange County, or CHOC, is one of the organizations that we hold very dear to us because not only have they helped thousands of children and their families, but they've also helped members within our own circle of family and friends. So it means a lot to us that you helped us with a contribution or that you helped us spread the word about our fundraising efforts. If you're able to and you would like to help us get a little closer to our goal this year, you can find the link to our donation page by going to teamboatwilly.com, or you can also learn a little bit more about our official charity team, or you can go directly to our Chalkwalk page, which is chalkwalk.org/teamboatwilly. Once again, thank you for helping us help the children of Chalk. Before we jump into the episode, I'd like to take a moment to thank a very special group of people known as the FGP Squad, or as we call them, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like access to exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content, and access to our monthly happy hour calls. For more info on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the members of the FGP Squad for their continued support. What do you think? Time to start the podcast? Yeah, I think so too. So here we go. This is episode 361 of Podketeers. How is everyone doing this week?
Good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Terrific.
You know,
Dad.
I completely forgot that we're approaching that time of year where it's kind of late in the evening and I'm looking outside and it looks like it's still 5 p.m.
Uh-huh.
I'm not used to it. I'm not ready for it.
Me
It's
neither.
still sunny out in the morning. I'm not used to it being sunny in the morning when I get up.
Yeah, I don't like it. It makes my body think that I should be sleeping less, and I already don't get enough of that stuff. So I feel like this is just going to hinder my ability to get more of it. And I kind of feel like I need it. I'm getting up there in age, you know.
Grandpa.
Hey, I'm like 1 year behind you. Don't do that.
I'm going to be on the left field of this one. I used to be really against this time because I'm not a big fan of the heat, and that's what that usually means, that we're getting to that solstice, I think, right? No, I forget. The sun's going to be out the longest, right? For me, though, I like it, though, because you get the most light, and I realize this is totally my wife putting this in my perspective. Like, you know, when you say, yeah, she's definitely knows. You get more activity, like, through the day. Like, you mentioned it, Heyzen, the bad way of, like, I should be asleep. The other side of it is, like, oh, thank goodness, like, you can go out and, like, even if you go, like, at 7, the days I do miss, and which I miss dearly to bring it up now, is going to the park just late and there's still a little bit of light, or you catch that last peak of sunset, because it, like, happens at 9. That was always so cool, like 8 o'clock.
I have to agree with that, because whenever I had the opportunity to head to the park with full tripod and full camera, you know, all my gear, that magic hour is always gorgeous, right? There was always some beautiful shots that you could take. And in the summer, it always did allow us to get a little bit more daylight in to do stuff with the boys before I had to go and separate myself and set up everything. So thankfully, my wife is very patient with me and always just kind of let me do my thing. while she went off and did stuff with the boys. But I have to say I miss that. I haven't done it in a really long time. I have a crazy archive of photos. And during the pandemic, I saw a lot of people posting old photos from the park. And I started keywording everything, right? So that I could quick search what I had available, and I started deleting the really bad ones, and some of them were just funny, and I kept them anyway. And I think there was one that I posted a few months back where my shutter speed wasn't set appropriately, but I took a picture of Jack in the mansion, and it looked like his soul was escaping his body. So the cool ones like that, I ended up just kind of keeping. Like, those were just kind of happy mistakes that I just thought looked pretty good. But I was able to clear off a good 2 or 3 gigs worth of, bad photos that were just taking up space where, it works better when you take the lens cap off sort of situations. But man, I miss going to the park and just taking photos. And, when you talk about your happy place, that was one of my happy things. It was being in the park, shooting different angles, just kind of getting a different perspective whenever possible. And I feel that Disneyland for me played a huge role in me being a better photographer, because if it wasn't for all of the lighting situations that were available to me around the park, I wouldn't have been able to play with all of the camera settings. And I remember the first time I bumped up from like a Rebel to like a nicer camera, I remember telling myself, okay, you stepped it up. It's time to get out of these automatic features. Like, no more this, no more that. Like, I wasn't even an aperture priority. I wasn't in anything. I was full-blown manual when I got the new camera. But, man, I learned so much. And it's one of those situations where you kind of throw yourself in the deep end, but you come out, better from the whole situation. So I'm thankful for it, and it's one of the things that, honestly, I know I miss the attractions. I know I miss the people watching. I miss the sweet, sweet smell of the popcorn on Main Street. I can smell it now. Just take a whiff. Just
butter.
Wipe that dribble off your
I know,
face
right?
there, Heyzen.
I'm drooling a bit. But yeah, I think of everything. I think being in the park and just taking photographs is just one of the things that I really, really miss about being in the parks right now. And I know that's not what we were talking about, but it just reminded me about that whole situation. But
there
yeah,
I need to go through my archive
the light,
too.
the daylight, how it works. It gets you back to
That's how it works. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Well, there's several things that I think we want to talk about in this episode, but I think I just want to make a couple of comments about the earnings call that recently happened, because I have to say I'm a little confused. I don't exactly know what to make of it at this point. I'm sure that we're going to get a lot more details as the year progresses. I think Disney is in this really weird spot where I think we mentioned this not too long ago, that when they canceled the annual pass program, it was something that they wanted to do for a really long time, because when you talk about value for price, annual pass holders were making out like bandits. Like the ability that we
directly into what we were just mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, the ability for us to go whenever we wanted for as many hours as possible. Disney obviously makes a lot of their money not just on the entrance fees, but on food, any type of concession, any type of retail. And as annual pass holders, we're not vacationing and we don't tend to buy that stuff. There is a segment of people that tend to purchase a lot of new items that come out, and then they post them on eBay. They're flippers basically, and that's a conversation for another episode.
Yeah, really.
But what was confusing is that just a week or two ago, Ken Potrock was on the D23 podcast, and we posted this on the Instagram account. We talked about it, how we were really excited to hear that, Jungle Cruise was going to be opening in the summer, and that he mentioned that a new annual pass program was coming, and that was exciting to me, because I thought, okay, this is great. we're gonna get a replacement. I bet it's gonna be way more expensive, but we've gotten a lot of value. I guess we'll kind of deal with it once we know what the price is. But then during the earnings call, Bob Chapek kind of walked backwards and said he actually never mentioned the words annual pass program. He said that they're working on a new loyalty program. So let me ask you, what does that sound like to you when you hear the words loyalty program?
Yeah, you go 5 times to Disneyland, you get a sticker. I mean,
Right.
it's like Dutch Bros or something.
I think this loyalty program, we should have had this decades ago, because there's people who've had APs for 20 years or however long they've had them for. And there's some of us who purchase almost everything that gets released at the parks. So I think right now I'm kind of mixed feelings about this, having it be called the Loyals program or something within that. I want to hear more. I do.
Hopefully
I want to
it's
hear a little bit more.
Not a replacement for the annual pass program. It's in addition to or something like that where people can benefit from it, as opposed to you have to buy day tickets, but if you buy so many day tickets, then you get whatever. That's what I think when I hear loyalty program. It's like a coffee card or a Taco Bell something or another.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's really what I thought of too. The first thing is we have this ice cream place near our house that we go to, and you buy 9 of them, you get the 10th one free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what you're talking about, Andrew. That I don't know, it was kind of confusing. It felt like he was kind of tiptoeing around it. It was surprising to hear that Disney Plus did not meet the numbers that they were expecting for this quarter. Actually, let me rephrase that. I actually don't think it's surprising, because during the pandemic, they had such a spike that they exceeded expectations very early from what they had originally projected. So I think this is kind of it evening out, the fact that they had so many subscribers over the pandemic. I think we're approaching the point where some of us had pre-purchased our subscriptions early on. I know that they had the D23 special where it's like 2 or 3 years for like $3 or $4 or something like that. We ruined ours by combining it with Hulu to get the commercial-free Hulu.
No.
I don't regret it, honestly. We pay the difference for Hulu now, but I love not having the commercials available. It's a small price to pay. I mean, I think as fans, I know I'm keeping it. I know the price is going to be significantly higher once I'm up for renewal. I don't think they're going to do the, hey, you're a charter member sort of deal, and, they're going to keep our pricing at the same point. The company is all about making money. They want to make sure that they can recuperate a lot of the money that they lost during the pandemic. What do you think they'll do for us as, we'll go back to that phrase, charter members? Do you think we're going to end up paying full price again once our current commitment is up?
I wouldn't doubt it. That's what I'm expecting. And I mean, we have the 3-year, I believe it was 3 years you bought up front at D23, and so that's a whole nother year and change away. So we have a little bit to push it off, but by then, who knows what the price will be. But I'm still going to keep it. Mandalorian alone, and plus everything that they've announced, I think it's still worth it. I mean, Netflix and everybody else is raising their prices up too, and with all the library that they say they're adding, it's still, I believe, going to be a big worth it. But who knows what they're going to give us? Maybe we'll get maybe we'll get another pin or something in the mail.
Yeah, I would just say keep your pin and give me a discount for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
But you're getting a pin, I'm pretty sure.
How dare they? I don't want the pin.
It's a pin. Take the pin.
I mean, if they still offered you guys something, that'd still be pretty cool. I don't know what the price difference would be, but I mean, why not? I mean, I don't know. I think I'm being too nice on this, but I would have offered it. I mean, you guys were the first ones to jump onto this before everybody else. So why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think overall Disney Plus is a huge value, for what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that a lot of our Disney favorites are in one place. I mean, I understand that content leaves the service because they have prior commitments with other companies. And once that commitment ends, then they bring that property back on. And that's going to happen for quite some time because a lot of the contracts that were made to license some of these products were done prior to Disney Plus even being an idea. These are a decade or so, in advance. That's usually how long they plan something like this. So I understand that stuff is going to go. But I kind of want to see some of the old stuff from Disney Channel that isn't on there yet, that I want my kids to watch now, that I think would be fun for them to watch. Little by little, I think we're going to get it. The light at the end of the tunnel, obviously, was when we got The Muppet Show. And that wasn't something that I think many of us were expecting to see when they finally dropped it. Is there anything that you'd like to see on Disney Plus that currently isn't on there?
I know it exists, and I don't think it'll ever get on there, but it'd be cool to see the Captain EO film put on there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know it was on some special Michael Jackson DVD at some point as a special feature. So I know it exists as a digital file, so
Dang.
it's possible.
Yeah. Mel, what about you?
I'm still gonna keep saying this, but I really want to see the opening day or the footage of Walt explaining like each land before Disneyland opened.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of footage I'm waiting for. Like
They need to put the whole Disneyland TV series. Because that's what that was on, the Disneyland TV series on ABC. They've got 5 different specials on there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, that whole thing should be on there.
Yeah. Larry, what about you?
I'm pretty sure you can find this on YouTube, and this is probably more on a tongue-in-cheek, but I want it on there. The Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah.
It's a part of Star Wars. It's not there. I don't know who has licensing. That's definitely got to be under something Lucasfilms. But that Christmas special is always talked about. It's like infamous for how bad it was. And I know it's bad, but I want to see it on there. I just want it to be a part of Disney Plus.
Yeah. I don't blame you. It is a train wreck. I could tell you. Look, I can say with confidence that it is definitely a part of YouTube. It is in that ecosystem. There are several uploads of it. As a matter of fact, in one of our blog posts, the one from last week, as a matter of fact, we linked to the episode where we talked about it. And the entire version is on there because there's actually 2 versions of it. There's the one that doesn't have the Boba Fett cartoon, and then there's the one with the Boba Fett cartoon. And we posted the one with the Boba Fett cartoon. So if you've never had an opportunity to see it, this is the time to do so. If you're curious about it, go to podketeers.com/338. That was the episode where we talked about The Mandalorian. We talked about the official Star Wars timeline, and the holiday special is posted there. Granted, it's whatever quality it was from that VHS that whoever uploaded it.
That's what I'm saying. There was like quality. That's why. Okay, this is totally what I was trying to get to. Is there's a quality that Disney Plus is gonna have to find to upload it to like a digital consumption, right? And I'm guessing it's still gonna be like what it looked like, that hazy 90s look, right? Or 80s, 70s, excuse me. But I want that on Disney Plus. It's like part of the history of Star Wars. Really, it is. I mean, Chewie's kids are in it, right?
Yeah. Life Day, dude. That's where it came from.
Right. So, I mean...
But you know what? That was filmed on actual film, so that makes it easier to convert to a higher quality, because analog, you can get it. That's where they get all these 4K...
Guys, when this gets uploaded...
convert and all this stuff to, holiday special, 4K.
Here's what's going to happen. I think that... Here's a prediction. I think George Lucas is going to be like, look, Disney, you had your chance, you made some mistakes, you're doing your best. Mandalorian, fantastic. Bad Batch, fantastic. but let me take the reins again. And then he's going to take the reins again, right? And then we're going to get 3 more Star Wars films. Then to celebrate said Star Wars films that basically retcon the last 3, he's going to be like, you know what? I have this thing that I wanted to say for my kids years from now, but you know what, Disney Plus? Go ahead and upload it. I have a laser disc, a transfer of the original film of the holiday special in my vault. I'm going to give it to you to upload. And then, boom, we're going to get the holiday special directly from George Lucas.
Sounds like something George Lucas.
I thought you were going to do a George Lucas impression when you were saying what George Lucas
not
was
at all.
say, but it
I would not do it justice.
That was hard.
If I attempted it, it would have sounded horrendous. So I didn't even attempt it. Yeah, it would be nice to see the holiday special on there. It is one of those lost pieces of history that, unless you were there, like it's kind of lost. Or unless you find it on YouTube, or go to podketeers.com/238 if you want to watch it. I think there's plenty of stuff like that, though. The Captain EO movie is like a perfect example of that.
There's so many Parks movies that exist that could be put up too. I mean, if you had wings and all that, Circuvision stuff. I don't know how they do it, but
Oculus.
Disney VR, Disney
Oculus,
Plus
man.
VR, like all that stuff is ripe for the picking.
I mean, imagine if they did like Circle Vision, or if they gave you like whenever they did stuff in the Muppet 3D Vision Theater. Well, now it's the PhilharMagic Theater.
PhilharMagic, yeah.
Whenever they were doing stuff in there, they had the ability to, broadcast around the entire theater. If they made more Circle Vision stuff, just give us an upgrade to Disney Plus with the Oculus Rift, and then we can watch all that in 3D. Or hook up with the technology that they got from the Void and the stuff that we're seeing in the parks coming up, and then give us some of that on Disney Plus. They could do entire virtual ride-throughs. I mean, it's not, I had a conversation about this with somebody about how virtual ride-throughs would be a horrible thing. Look, one, we already got virtual ride-throughs because people post them on YouTube all the time. We've posted them before. The only difference is that Disney has more control of the lighting situation. And if you had a professional version of it, they can edit it in post to look how you want it to look. They can use whatever gear they need to. They won't have, they can remove all of the other vehicles in order to film this so that it looks completely clean as you're going through the ride through. It'll give you an immersive experience. Why would that be good? Because there's people that just can't go to the parks. Because maybe they're bedridden in a hospital, and maybe their dream is to go to Disneyland and they won't ever be able to do it. Why wouldn't you want to give them the opportunity to go on one of these attractions through a medium like Oculus or any type of technology like that? How awesome would that be? Like, imagine how much magic you would bring to that person, who has not ever or will never get a chance to go to the parks.
Dang. I'm listening to you, and it's like, all right, I'm trying not to get emotional about this, but it is a great idea.
I mean,
I
it's
love
true,
it.
Right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that we see, and here's the thing. Not too long ago on Disney Plus, they posted, I don't remember which park it was from. I don't know if it was from Paris or if it was from Walt Disney World, but they posted one of the fireworks shows. They did this whole production for it, and I thought, man, if they posted the fireworks shows from, and they can region lock it, as a matter of fact, because it's one thing to watch it on a TV screen, but it's another thing to experience it live. Okay, I can't stress enough how seeing and feeling the energy and watching the lights and everything around you, it's I can't even describe how it makes you feel. I just think back on that day that we were in the park. I mean, it's happened to me with a lot of different fireworks shows and parades, but I remember the day that we were in the park, Mel, when we were watching the Pixar fireworks show that they did.
Disneyland Forever?
Was it Disneyland Forever or was it the Pixar one? Which is the one that they did where all the Coco characters just flew up on Main Street?
Oh my God, everyone's yelling at me because I can't remember.
Well, I
don't
can't
think
remember
Disneyland
either.
Forever didn't have Coco. I don't.
No,
Coco
it
didn't
didn't,
come out
right?
before the 60th.
So it had to
So-
have been the Pixar.
Together Forever.
Pixar
no,
Fest.
No. Yes.
Yes, you're right.
There
You're
you
right.
go.
It is Together Forever. So
Okay.
during Together
Redeem
Forever,
myself.
we're on Main Street, and everybody's enjoying it. Life is a highway. Blah, you know, Monsters Inc. and everything. Wally and Eve are flying. And then boom, you hear Miguel strum his guitar. You see the marigolds all over, and then all of a sudden, you see all of the characters just pop up on the top of the buildings. And the people on Main Street erupted like I haven't heard in a really long time, if ever, during a presentation like that. It was electric. Okay? I like that feeling. You can watch it on TV, but you're only going to get that feeling when you're in the middle of Main Street and you're experiencing this for the first time. So does it harm Disney to put the fireworks shows or put these films from the attractions on Disney Plus? No, I don't think so. I think it's only going to make people want to go to the parks to see them live more. I mean, am I wrong?
And then a chicken like me can check out anything that's scary in a ride before it's. Does this roller coaster have a loop in it?
I mean, I think there's a lot of value in it.
Oh yeah.
I really wish that they would put more of that stuff on there. It would
is Illuminations.
Illuminations. Yes, that's the
Disney
one that
Plus
came
of
on. Yeah.
Disneyland Paris.
Right on. Thank you for looking that up. I mean, it would, I think, kill an entire industry of vloggers, sadly to say, because I think that's part of what we all post on YouTube, our experiences, and, not having a professional version, I guess, gives you the ability to watch a much cleaner version of it because they can build the production however they want to. But on the plus side, we could still talk about our experiences. We just don't have to put the entire thing on there because I can't tell you, we don't have a lot of videos on YouTube, but let me tell you, a lot of the ones where they are park related and then they are attraction related, we get a lot of DMCA takedown requests for those. And so I just say, you know what? Just give the money to Disney. I don't even care. Just give it to Disney. I'm not monetizing it. Let someone do it.
Yeah.
We're not
And
there
then we'll
yet.
all watch.
We're definitely not there yet. You need a certain number. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, now might be a good time for you to do it. YouTube.com/Podketeers. I think we're approaching the halfway mark to 1,000. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of videos. I have a huge archive of stuff that I need to upload. But it's funny because taking it back to the photos, in the same folders, I had a lot of videos. I had a lot of video clips of stuff that I feel at some point should make it on YouTube. There's a lot of what I consider lost footage because, I mean, Larry, I think you're better at this whole thing than I am, but I used to have this conversation with VJ all the time that I'm not great at vlogging because I get so consumed with everything that's happening around me that half of the time I forget, even though the damn camera's in my hand and it's like set up on like the little gorilla pod or whatever.
Right.
And so there's a lot of videos that I have. I'm like, hey, guys, we're back at Disneyland, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ride, whatever. And then I forget, and there's no outro. There's no follow-up. There's nothing. And I'm like, I suck at this.
It's a part of it too. That's kind of why I chose when I was doing videos on YouTube just recently is like sometimes just narrating over it that way, then I don't have to worry about it because I realize exactly what you're saying. If I did it narration and live, well, first, we talk about just right now getting monetized, right? That's always not monetized, but getting it getting pulled down, right?
Yeah.
That's always a risk when you're talking in live places and music spills over into your YouTube video. But that's why I did voiceover, because then you just kind of don't have to worry about it. You can try to experience it and just worry about catching everything, but then you can talk over it later, which isn't always the best with the kids today because they're like, you just talked about it. Like, I think for me, why I would love just to loop back to what we were saying, to have Disney post their own videos because it's a Disney production and they do things like in a certain way, right? Instead of me hearing about what this person's critique is in their way, like, and I have to hit the forward button 20 times on my Apple remote, which sucks at forwarding. Apple, you heard me. Thank God they've got it. Yeah, fix it. Thank God I got a new remote. Hopefully that works, but I'm not gonna get it anyway. I'm just saying that's what it is. It is that if Disney can control the narrative of us seeing this fireworks show, in now you have the way where you can make us in person that can't be replicated, right? And then you have the Disney Plus version that you're sharing with your paid subscriber that you just didn't hit targets with. This is one way to entice people.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And we'll even give this one to you. You can call it Disney Vision. It's a peek into the parks using the magical, I don't know, pick an object. I don't care. The magical spectacles of Oculus. I don't know. Whatever you want. But there you go. You even have a name for it. So if we see this pop up on Disney Plus in one way or another, you know my address.
90% of our podcast. If you see this, folks, please let us know. I feel like it's like an America's Most Wanted, but Disney like ideas. If this idea shows up,
that's funny.
We have operators standing by.
There you go.
That's funny. Wow, that conversation totally did not go in the direction that it was originally intended. But you know what? I almost felt like there was a lot of that I had to get off my chest, and there it is. It's off. So
there you go.
Anyhow, if there's anything that you would love to see on Disney Plus, during the conversation, you can leave a comment over on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or you can join us over on our Discord server. If you're not a part of that growing community, you can head over to podketeers.com/361. You'll find the invite link there. Or if you have any questions, just hit us up, send us a DM on Instagram, and we'll be happy to help you out or answer any questions that you may have. But, as far as what I want to see, I think, Andrew, you nailed it. The two things that I would like to see are the Disneyland TV show and the entire Wonderful World of Disney series. When I was collecting DVDs, that is an old technology, kids, that has this tiny disc made of plastic, and there's these lasers that hit the bottom to play these moving images on your televisual system. When I was collecting DVDs, I collected all of the tins that they had at the Disney store with so all of the episodes. And I think in our storage, I have all of them, and the only one that I opened was the Disneyland one. All the other ones are sealed, because I knew that eventually, in my heart, that something like Disney Plus would show them to me. And they're not there, so Disney Plus, show them to me. I don't want to open them. I want to maintain their value.
Now.
Well, it's, look, I think I speak for, and I say it kind of tongue-in-cheek when I say maintain their value, but anyone with children understands that you're risking a lot putting your items out and leaving them up for grabs when your kids get a hold of them, because the younger they are, they're not going to take care of them. They've broken many of my Disney things, and many of my DVDs have been scratched beyond repair, and some of them are just not available for purchase unless I want to spend several $100s on eBay, and I'm not going to do that. So instead, things like Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu, like, these are all fantastic services because I don't have to worry about leaving all the discs out. Things like Movies Anywhere, which is also a company that Disney is associated with, having the ability to link all of the purchased movies that we have and being able to download them to the device to watch them when we're on a trip or in the car, whatever the case is. I love it. And like I said, I want them to maintain their value, because guess what? When it's scratched up, they're worthless. Nobody's going to give me several $100s for that copy of bleep the name of that film. But, it is what it is.
Well, now we know that they exist in a digital form because they had to make these DVDs.
Right.
So just hit that upload button and put them on Disney Plus.
Right. Give us the Diamond Platinum Edition that was released for the 9th time, where you remastered it 17 times to make it look good for the Blu-ray. That's the one we want on Disney Plus. Well, no, now we got to go 4K. So, so much involved. You know what? Just hire us,
Put
Disney.
those Roger Rabbit shorts.
Just hire us.
Too.
We'll take care of all the editing. We'll take care of all the remastering, and we'll make your service
totally know how to do that.
We'll be fine. Anyway, earnings call. Still a little confused to wrap that up. I don't know what we're going to hear in the future. Hopefully we get more clarity on what it's going to be. I don't like the whole loyalty program thing because it does sound like a punch card, essentially. But I'm hoping that we get better news. I think we've had the conversation that we're ready to get an AP, and my only concern is that it is going to be more expensive and that there won't be a monthly payment program anymore. I think that's going to be one of the caveats coming into it, that if they do come up with something like this, that they're going to make it more restrictive where you have to pay up front. Because I will admit that one of the things that I've been a little jealous of when it comes to being in the parks is that when the parks are at 25% capacity, that's a nice day in the park. Obviously, things aren't open, the way that we're used to, but remembering what some of the crowds were like when we were all in the park and compared to 25%, it's not too bad. It's not too shabby. So I'm kind of looking forward to having smaller crowds in the parks, at least for a while.
Yep.
We'll see.
More manageable. Maybe I can, walk down the street without having to weave through 40 people. I could walk in a straight line. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that's true.
No lines for the restroom.
You can pee on time. That's a bonus. Speaking of some of the advancements that they're making in the parks, we got an alert saying that they have enhanced the ticket purchasing ability.
Yeah, it's I believe it just came out today. They're making your ticketing purchases a lot easier. So they made a whole new website. Well, not a new web page. And in the recent past, you had to make sure you purchase your tickets first and then go make your reservations. And you don't know what you'd have to figure out what reservation you wanted, buy your tickets, then go back and forth. So now they have a new reservation ticket all-in-one thing going on now. It's Disneyland.com/park reservations, and that whole thing will take you through getting your reservations and your park tickets all in one.
That's great.
The coolest thing I've seen on here is that you're now able to make parties. So from what I'm guessing is kind of like when we had the fast passes and you were able to group everybody, like if you had their APs. So you're now allowed to, like, let's say you have friends or whoever. I see. I'm a little confused on this, but it's talking about you're able to just make your parties. You select them and whatnot, and make your reservations together. So it seems like, they're opening up that, and it seems cool. Before it was like you were kind of strict on, whoever was in your party, but this kind of allows you to like add other people if you wanted to. But of course, we have the guidelines and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
From the process when I went through the early purchasing, of getting tickets, that there was as you guys, if you remember back to that episode, there was a lot of hiccups that we knew that they were going to have to work out. And this is typically when I saw this, when Andrew shared this, and we say it's May 17th, Monday. So if you want to look back on the Disney Parks blog, when I see this article, I feel like it's a lot of what Disneyland does. Like they kind of have a guinea pig stage or you beta stage, but it's not really beta because people are really using the service, and they work out the kinks. And I think this is one of those things where there was a lot of kinks within. First, there is something very hard just to handle traffic for any server. That's always going to be an issue, and that's kind of like one of those things where even though this is a multi-billion-dollar business, they're going to run into those issues. There's bigger ones that run the same issues, but some of the process for just the ease of how to use it, I see how they, like what Melissa's mentioning, I see how you're helping the average consumer feel more comfortable on the online store. I mean, like buying a ticket online, because don't forget, Disney was one of those, theme parks, a theme park setup. It's going there and there's booths to buy tickets, right? Well, in the time we're in, they're forced to adapt to this new setup, and they're doing a good job by finding ease to combine steps. That's the best way to tell you. Like, if you're going through a checkout process, that was the hardest thing. Like I told you before, you really didn't feel like it flowed together. You felt like you were looking at some other screen to see if it was open for the ticket, the park being there, and then all of a sudden now you have to go to checkout and hope it's still there. It just didn't feel like it was working together, and that was the biggest bummer for me. So I'm glad that they're taking feedback in this realm quickly, because if we are going to have a continuance of what we see now, having a capacity at where they have to give only a limited amount availability, well, make sure that when you do that, don't give another person another problem. And they're trying, and I like that.
Yeah. Plus, I think it really makes sense when it's like, Mel, you mentioned, attractions, right? Like, you have the ability to do it. When we had the old apps with our APs, you can add your party. And so if you were doing like Rise of the Resistance, you had an entire party. Having that ability now is very similar to what we're used to, but it's so funny that they didn't take these steps before, knowing that they were going to have these challenges going into what we're doing now, or how they're handling things. So you're right, Larry. I think the fact that they're taking feedback and that they're adapting this quickly, it's not something that I think we've really seen before. I think Disney has been kind of Apple-esque when it comes to some of the changes, where they say, we know what's good for you, and they kind of give us what they want to give us. But in this case, I think they're really, really trying. I think they really do want to make the experience a lot easier, not just because of what's happening, but I think also to ease some of the tension of a lot of things that they've taken away from us, right? So growing pains, like you said, kind of a beta thing, and it's going to get better, but I'm glad that they're starting to do this now, especially now that we're going to have Avengers Campus opening so soon. We're about a month or so away from the opening at this point. I mean, I saw an article that they were talking about some of the stuff in the PIM test kitchen. I'm kind of jealous that you're going to get an opportunity to try this out when you're in the park, man.
Well, this one, I'm just going to miss it by a couple days, Heyzen, so just keep that clear. Like, I'll be going.
So it's not even the food that's going to be open?
Oh, I don't think so. June 4th is the date that they're putting in the blog. But still, the plans are aplenty when I see this, because like we mentioned earlier, I know we're going to get some content from bloggers out there. Heck, most importantly, from all of our FGP squads. I know some of you are probably going to run out there and get a ticket for this. So I'm glad to at least share it with them. If you didn't read the Disney Parks blog, this was one that dropped on Monday, May 17th again. They talk about a foodie guide, which I know it's really popular. Shout out again, FGP. Join us on the Discord, guys, with this our little chat. There's plenty to talk about when we talk about food. And the test kitchen. Yeah, it is that you mentioned. It's featuring these impossible foods, which is pretty cool, just to give like that idea of this whole setup is, this is like science meets food, where it gets larger. You're doing the Ant-Man lab kind of setup, right? So you got food that's like disproportionately sized, to just give like a little bit of a background. But we've never heard any menu options till now. And I think they have a breakfast option currently. They have some snacks and sips on there. And also they call it Blue Particle Specials and a kids menu. And what the coolest thing, when I'm looking at it, just from those options, if you're asking me, I think I like the taste tester, the pretzel idea, because this pretzel is supposed to be quantum tunnel-y directly above the center in the front of the kitchen laboratory. So I'm guessing we're going to see some kind of like interactive theater with some of the food you may get. And what they're saying is that it's going to the quantum tunnel, and it goes from a large to small, small to large. Then with the final result, a supersized pretzel ready for sharing. Now the pretzel is awesome, right? You're getting a little bit of a show, it sounds like, but it looks super good. I mean, you're talking about like things with like, you got your dipping sauce. You got a large pretzel in the image. It's hanging from like, it looks pretty big to be shared. And they give you a variety of things you could dip with it. Also, the way it comes to you, it could come in like 3 different options, I think, if I'm right, but 2 or 3. The Quantum Pretzel, just to give you a little background, it's got the sharp cheddar beer sauce to dip into, and that's my jam usually to go to. That's like my go-to. Now, the next thing that I'm really jamming from there is their Not So Little Chicken Sandwich. It's a fried chicken breast with teriyaki red chili sauces, pickled cabbage, brochet with crispy potato bites. Let's just call them potato tater tots because it's my jam.
Tater tots.
Gotta love the tater tots, right? But I really encourage you guys to go look at the Food Parks blog, the Disney Parks blog for this posting, because the sandwich is, I can't explain it. It's like a saucer of chicken on a tasting like bun. Like if you got
it
like
looks
a
like
sample.
a slider bread.
Yes, that's it. Slider bun. And all of these things, it's funny because, you know, we've seen food. I think what's cool about the spin on this, right? They're following the Marvel kitchen, the style of what it is, right? What's really cool about it is that we've seen large portions of foods all over of America, right? But to see it like, now you got like a slider bun and then a large piece of chicken, fried chicken on top of that. It's so funny. It's a cool play on it, which I like. And, you know, these are not kid foods, but you know the kids are going to be like, we got to have that. So it's like, might even get like a shareable plate. You never know. That's kind of like the idea with that one. But I think the next thing for me that's that blog post is the testing lab that will be right beside it. I like to partake in the alcoholic beverages, but there is kids drinks here. Just I believe there may be like sodas, but the main thing they're selling here is alcohol. I was having high hopes for this one because sadly, you know, I like to partake and see what they're trying to do. But the thing what they're spinning on this one is a lot of honey and then habanero syrups, which I'm not that guy. I don't know about you guys.
I gotta tell you,
habanero
dude,
in a drink.
back when I was experimenting with a lot of the craft beers, there was at least 2 different craft beers that my brother and I had with cayenne pepper and one with oh man, I wish I remember what the other one was, but they were spicy beers. And if you ever had like a Bloody Mary, it was a stouty. Or, I'm sorry, it was an IPA spin on a Bloody Mary. And it wasn't horrible.
Oh.
It was okay. It's been a long time since I've, been drinking really anything at this point. But back when we were experimenting, that was one of the things. Like, we would go out and we would buy all sorts of different beers and do tastings and everything. And I remember that was one of the things I really enjoyed. Because when I saw this menu, as you're going through it, there was one that really, really called out. And I remember when I would go out for a drink, I was a stout person. Like, I really enjoyed stouts. And they had a marshmallow milk stout on here that was, I think it's like with vanilla ice cream, with miniature marshmallows and stuff like that. It's basically a root beer float, but with a stout, right?
For adults.
And I thought, man, like, why was this not available 5 years ago? Why is it available now? Why are you doing this to me, Disney? But, it is what it is. Hopefully they will have an adequate replacement for, if you want a non-alcoholic version. And who knows, maybe in the future, maybe I'll have an opportunity to try it again. But, yeah, I kind of like, it sounds weird, having that chili pepper in there. It sounds weird. But it's not that bad.
Oh, any other thoughts on this? We don't mind.
Okay, so there was something I was telling you guys about in the chat, and there was a dessert that caught my eye, and it's something. Okay, first off, disclaimer: I'm very weird when I like to see things that are in the park. So there's a particular dish that I've always wished that they brought to Disneyland, particularly Adventureland. Now, we go to see the Terran treats, right? and they have a cosmic cream orb. Now, let's look at the shape. My indie fans. All right. Let's make it red velvet. Guess what? You got chilled monkey brains right there. And I've been dying for something like
We've
that.
talked about this. You talked about it in your
Yes,
restaurant when we armchair imagined Adventureland. Perfect.
Exactly.
Treat for
So
it.
I'm like, yes, it is possible that they could do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It,
And the churros actually
just
really
to give a
looks
little bit
really
of-
good too.
Yeah, the background on it does look like this one's that cream orb, and if you can picture something that looks like a brain, but like
brain.
sliced in half,
Mm-hmm.
like literally, that's what it does. I think you nailed it. But it's purple, just to keep it with that theme. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. I think, and it's funny because for me, that's on the next thing I would say was the sweet spiral ration, the churro spiral, that green color. I know this could go all wrong because of its shape, folks.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, man, that looks interesting. Like, I would definitely be. That's like one sweet that I'd go for because the churros got me sold. And I'm always wondering how they're going to spin the next thing for a churro because they're always changing it up.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Andrew, that sticks out?
Well, yeah, you know what? Besides the food, there's some merch
Oh
available.
my God, dude. Don't get me started. What are you looking at?
You know what? I think Heyzen's going to get one of these right up when he gets at the Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet
Yes.
Oh,
Coke
yeah.
bottle holder.
Oh my
It's very
God.
cool.
Okay, who doesn't need something to hold your bottle of Coke?
I mean, who doesn't?
Right?
It's cold. You need a big, giant Iron Man glove to hold it. And then there's also, I don't know if this is some Marvel lore that I don't know, this Pingo Doce soda. I don't know what that is, but there's a huge soda can, and it looks really cool.
I think what this is, I think it's do you know what dipping dots are? Like the little
Yes.
ice cream circles? Or maybe it's closer to boba. I feel like it's going to be like boba or like little, like balls of soda that dissolve in your mouth and you're drinking it in these little, like, capsule forms or something. I think that's what it is.
Well, you know what? I just scrolled up, and there is a drink in the snacks and sips with the same name. But I don't know if it's just name alone. A lemon lime with a vanilla kick. It's green. So I'm not sure, but that would be cool. Soda orbs.
It'll be interesting to see it and taste it, I think.
I'm a huge soda buff, so I'm all for soda orbs, if that's a thing.
Dude, there's a place in Pasadena when you're back in town that we have to go
Okay.
to. The guy's been around since like 1954, and his entire store has sodas from around the world.
Oh, man.
We have to go and like check out all of these sodas that he has. Plus, he's got a machine in the back where you can make your own soda. You can get the bottles, you can cap them, you can select the flavors, and you can just make your own soda. We'll go
That sounds
and
like
we'll make
real
a
fun.
Podketeers soda.
Let's do it.
So
Field
down.
trip.
Totally not
Speaking
what
of
we're
soda,
talking
I'll-
about, but
Go
No.
off on a whole tangent, but I did see that they announced, for all you Walt Disney World listeners out there, Club Cool is coming back, and and Beverly is coming back to Club Cool. So
Woo!
don't be afraid. Beverly's back, baby.
who
Yeah,
have
Beverly.
you three had the Beverly?
I think just Andrew and I.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we went, we had it. It was an experience.
What is your best description of the Beverly, Andrew?
From what I can remember, it was almost just like seltzer water, but more bitter. Yeah, and I understand what it's supposed to be. From what I understand, it's supposed to be like a palate cleansing drink. It's Italian, possibly.
It seemed heavy too.
Yeah,
Like,
it was-
wasn't light.
It was a very interesting flavor, but it's one you had to, make sure you have your Beverly and then your mango soda right next to it. You have a
Yes.
chaser so you don't
Chaser.
die.
That's how we did
Chaser
it.
for the cleanser.
That's sad. I So I've never been to Walt Disney World. It's on our bucket list, obviously, to go. But I've had many people describe it, and I think the one that's always stood out in my head is when it's described as, imagine drinking a liquefied rubber tire that's been on the road for hours. That's what it tastes like. It just tastes like liquefied rubber. And it scared me because I don't know how to feel about that, because my first thought, you remember watching Bobby's World when you were younger?
With Howie Mandel?
Yeah, remember how he would kind of veer off into these like little like imaginative like scenarios where he was imagining the literal version of whatever like people were saying? That's kind of what happened to me when I heard that comment. I was like, why have you been drinking liquefied rubber tires? Like, that's horrible.
How do you know how that tastes like?
So, yeah, I don't know. I'll probably try it just to say that I've tried it before. But,
you're going to have to try it.
Yeah, but, I'll probably have to chase it with something else, just like you guys did. I'll probably...
Yeah, it looks like so... Yeah, I don't know if they have... Before, you just walk up to a machine, they had, like... a dozen or 2 dozen Coke machines with all the different flavors, and you'd give little like Dixie cup size cups and drink them. And now it looks like they're giving everybody like a flight.
Oh wow!
It's like a
Which
flight
is
of
still
6, all pre-poured. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I wonder why they've never brought the Beverly to Anaheim. I wonder what the story behind that is.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Once we get a Club Cool out here, I guess it'll be, because it's a whole Coke sponsored thing, and it's you would think it would make more sense if that was in World Showcase, because it's like sodas from around the world, but it's in what was Future World, or the main entrance. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know my Epcot lands, but
it was in Future World, I believe.
Future World, okay.
Yeah.
Or you can make it an out of this world drink available at Oga's Cantina. It's a strange
Nobody
flavor.
would get.
Why not just have it so people... I mean, it could be their #1 bestseller. Who knows?
I think Beverly is popular because it's free.
Oh, well.
Can't say that a lot.
That's my 2 cents.
Well,
it's free.
We'll see. So yeah, the Pim Test Kitchen, man. There's so many things that I'm looking forward to.
The novelties.
Dude,
Yeah,
I will admit...
Souvenirs.
I will admit that I'm looking forward to the shawarma that they're bringing to Avengers Campus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shawarma is one of my favorite foods to eat, and the fact that it's going to be available on Avengers Campus, man. The little card and everything that they're putting in there, I love it. Love it so much.
We can all get the shawarma, and we can all sit around and recreate the photo from the end of the event.
Do we have to get beat up for it, or can we just eat the shawarma?
I think we can just eat the
Nice.
shawarma. I mean, I think with how our stamina is now, just a half a day at the park will look like that anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
I can only imagine us there just flopped over with our Infinity Gauntlets, chugging down a Coca-Cola, looking so superhero-ish.
That's
Just-
funny. I can't hold it myself. Get me one of those
I
Iron
need
Man
this.
gauntlets. Let it hold it from me.
Let it hold it.
That's funny. If you had an opportunity to look at the foodie post, let us know what you're most looking forward to. There's so many experiences that are coming to Avengers Campus that I can't wait till I have an opportunity to go. Food, merch, attractions, the experience. There's going to be so many like characters out. A lot of Marvel stuff is moving right now. There's a lot of stuff happening. The new Hotel New York is opening in Paris. I think, what is it, June 6th?
It's opening June 21st, and bookings start May 8th.
Ah, okay. Well, I'm never good at dates. That's why I rely on the calendar on my phone.
Who doesn't?
Right? But, we knew that this was coming. We knew that there was going to be a plethora of Marvel art, and I think that's what I would love to go see, just the way that they adorned it. But the experiences that they're putting into Avengers Campus, the hotel, it's very similar to a lot of the things that they're doing on the cruise lines. I think they're finding a lot of synergy with how they present a lot of this. and I like it. I mean, I love that Marvel is getting a larger presence in the parks. I think as their footprint grows, we're going to get a lot more of these types of experiences. And, you know, they have all of the traveling shows, you know, Marvel on Ice and all that stuff. Who knows? Maybe the Hyperion will turn into, you know, a new Marvel show, you know, a new stunt show or something. Maybe they'll create like an entire attraction based on, I don't know, a studio tour that will have some kind of stunt spectacular. That's never been done before at a Disney park. Wink. We don't have the footprint. I'm kidding. DCA is too small for something like that. But I really like that the Marvel presence in the parks is really starting to amp up. So Disneyland Paris obviously is many years away for me. I think first I have to tackle Walt Disney World before we can tackle Paris.
Might be a good idea.
But, you know, little by little, baby steps.
There you go.
Absolutely.
We'll make it out.
Got a long life to live.
I mean, I still have to make it out to Disneyland again for Mickey's sake.
So many people do. Can relate to you right now.
Right?
I'll be happy once that happens. So, all right. Well, I think that's where we're gonna wrap up this episode. There was so many other things that I wanted to talk about. I guess next week we could talk about it. The Van Eaton Galleries auction is going on. I think it's happening this weekend after the release of this episode. So, you know, we could talk about some of the stuff that was sold next week and, you know, some of our dream items, I guess. But
Yeah.
so we're going to wrap up this episode. Anything else before we put this baby to bed?
You know, go look in that.
Yeah.
Get prepared for next week's episode. Look at everybody go look at the galleries, what they're selling, what they're offering. It's I can't remember how many pages, but so many pages. There's so much stuff. There's some hidden gems in there and some interesting stuff in there too that you might want to look real close at. Some of the stuff in there. It's kind of funny. So yeah,
you may
some
wanna
homework
wait
for you
till after the 22nd because you might find something you want to buy, and this just might save you money if you're trying to go back to Disneyland.
Well, I mean, if you're John Stamos or Richard Kraft, I don't think it matters. But you're right. I would be too tempted. There's been other auctions that they've had where I see some Haunted Mansion stuff, and I'm all like, oh, honey, how much do we have on that credit card?
If I only had money like 25 years ago, you know, I would have been buying it up. It was so much cheaper then.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good point.
That's true.
I mean, I was only 4 then, but still.
Well, here's what I think we've learned from this conversation. What I think we've learned is that we need to take some of the PIM technology for quantum leaping, and we need to go back in time to collect as many of those artifacts as possible and bring them back with us so that now that they're worth more, we can sell them at a higher price. Boom. Meeting adjourned.
Ooh. Sold.
Let's do
Not
it.
that I
Let's do
took
it.
that premise from any Back to the Future movie and any type of book that gives you the scores to any types of games. This is an original idea, never before seen in any film. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up the episode, I do want to remind you that this episode of Podketeers is brought to you by a fantastic group of folks known as the FGP Squad, or as we call them, our podcast Fairy Godparents. And it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. If you want more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad, you can head over to podketeers.com/FGP. Being a part of the FGP family allows you to gain access to our monthly happy hour calls, additional content, discounts on Podketeers gear, free items, giveaways, all sorts of stuff. If you want more info, again, head over to podketeers.com/FGP. And of course, as always, a huge thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts on anything that we talked about. Make sure that you connect with us over on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Again, you can join us on the Discord server. A link of the items that were up for auction by Van Eaton Galleries will be available in the blog post for the episode, podketeers.com/361. That's it. It's time to go have dinner.
Woohoo.
All right. It's nothing cool
Go
like
have
in
dinner,
the Pim Test
listen to
Kitchen
some
yet.
music.
No.
Yeah.
Not yet, but it's dinner time with full light outside at 10 p.m. I'm kidding. It's dark outside. That's it. I'm delirious. I need to go eat. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for being loyal and frequent listeners.
We have our own loyalty program.